The emotional body is also our driving mechanism to be on this plane of existence. So the emotional body operates in most mysterious ways in a multidimensional facets. We have emotions that we experience from this lifetime. Then we have emotions that we experience that our mind has created. Then we have emotions that come from our causal body. And then we have emotions that derive from past lives or future lives or our multidimensional self. These emotions all work together in order to trigger you so you can come to a higher state of realization and transform them in this plane of existence, then the soul level of existence, and all the way to your oversoul level of existence. A theme has been coming up for the past few weeks. Uh, I like to call it emotional freedom. And what does that mean, emotional freedom? We all have an emotional body. We all have emotional state of consciousness. To some people might refer to as inner child or emotional body. All depends on the perspective. And how does the emotional body work? How does it work? How does it operate? From where does it get this information to respond or to react a certain way? How does it understand to, how does it trigger our behaviors? And where is it all stored and how is it operate beyond the physical aspect? The emotional body is also understandable. It is our driving mechanism to be on this plane of existence. So the emotional body operates in most mysterious ways in a multidimensional uh, facets. We have emotions that we experience from this lifetime. Then we have emotions that we experience that our mind has created. Then we have emotions that come from our causal body. And then we have emotions that derive from past lives or future lives or our multidimensional self. These emotions, different stages of emotions, all work together in order to trigger you so you can come to a higher state of realization and transform them in this plane of existence, then the soul level of existence, and all the way to your oversoul level of existence. So you have emotional state of the inner child and the infant self. These emotions are stored in your lower two centers, or three centers, you can say. We'll say the lower two centers, the first center and the second center, the chakra systems. These emotions are stored from your childhood, and these emotions take place of how you picked up belief systems from your mother and father, your babysitters, maybe your friends, families, as you were growing up. So until age of 7, you're picking up emotional beliefs, structures, codes, geometrical shapes, and imprinting them in yourself. And then you start to behave a certain way and respond without even knowing because they are in your subconscious mind. This is from comes from your childhood. So these we would call the inner child. Then you have the emotions and the belief systems that trigger the emotions, which reside in your solar plexus. These emotions have to do with your belief systems that you have created for yourself. Okay, this is already basically age of 7 and up. You're already now thinking freely, and you say, okay, I want to believe that in order to become successful, I really have to work hard. In order to have a healthy family. I have to be part of it, and I have to constantly infuse myself into it. So these are the beliefs that you have created, right? Or the fairy tales that we see on Disney Channel saying, this is how my love life should be. And I'm waiting for my Prince Charming, and everything is going to be perfect. And oops, it doesn't really happen. These are also belief systems that we have created that trigger the emotional state. Then we have emotions that come from our soul level, okay, which would be the causal body, which emotions have created from past lives, behaviors from past lives. Then we go even higher into the oversoul level, the emotional behaviors of your parallel realities. Okay? Your parallel realities. From those parallel realities, they also will come on a timed experience in your life. So let's say you have realized a certain level of emotion in this dimension, then you start to work on the emotional level that is having an effect here in this life, as well as that you transferred from another lifetime. So now you're becoming a multi-dimensional healer. Now you are healing the oversoul experiences down to this lifetime and other dimensions. So these are just emotions, right? But all emotions are derived from the mental body, from the mind, the beliefs, because the emotional body does not have a reason why it behaves a certain way. It just does. It wants to throw a tantrum, it wants to have things its way, but it's not because of that. It is because the mind said it has to be that way. And that emotional state responds. So we approach it from a gentleness, from love, from joy, from happiness. You cannot push it away. You cannot force it. You cannot cut it. You cannot burn it or wish for a fairy to come and take it away. This is the way of acceptance. Acceptance of our own state of consciousness in a multi-dimensional experience. So the emotional body is hollow when you're born, or might already have some programs, but you chose a family that will have a certain dimension of emotional state and mental state where you start to operate under. But the emotional body is the body that allows you to connect, which is part of the astral body, connect to other dimensions. Why? Or connect to source. These are the emotional body is part of also manifestation. So if you want to manifest something, you have to have a heightened state of emotion in order to attract it. It doesn't matter, it doesn't mean positive or negative. It's only to us it means positive or negative. The universe says it's a high frequency, I will present it to you. It could be an angry frequency, but it's still high. To us, it's angry, but to the higher state of consciousness, it's irrelevant. It could be a happy emotion, but it's a very high emotion. So that emotion sends out a signal to the universe, and the universe now starts to respond back to the signal that you send out through the emotional state. If you are, sometimes we can pay attention to our emotional state, and we see some days you're extra happy, and then all of a sudden, the next day you're sad and depressed, but you're not finding a middle ground. This is where emotional mastery comes in, is to find a neutral state and choose an experience that you want to have. Choice is by acknowledging the state of consciousness we're in. So the emotional body, which we can refer to the little girl or little boy within ourselves, has to be approached from gentleness, from complete compassion within yourself. And the emotional state, I did not mention one thing, that the emotional state does not only reside in your physical body, it resides in your ether. The emotional body is always in a state of flow. What does that mean? A state of flow. If it's always flowing, it's always acceptive. Acceptive, meaning to every situation, every circumstance. This is something from the course, from Master Thyself, and we go over this. I just want to show you guys that this is an emotional body chakra system. These chakra systems are not the seven chakra systems that we refer to. These chakra systems are in the ether and they operate at a different state of consciousness. So, just to have an idea, these parts resonate to your organs, to your physical body, as well as your energy bodies. Within the energy bodies, okay, there are spaces between spaces. It is not something that is physical, it is a multi-dimensional facet of experience. It does not have a final destination or a final place where it's at. It could move and appear and disappear. It can be here 1 second, but when you're in a different state of emotion, that emotional programming can disappear and then appear again. And how does that work? How does that work? It works based on your belief systems. It is being aware and in control of your mental patterns. The mind dictates the emotional state, how to respond, behave, act, and be. Because the emotional state is a hollow little child that says, I just want to have fun. I want to enjoy my life. I want to explore everything. Look at a piece of paper. Wow, look at the corners. This one is straight and this one is not. Look at the leaf. Look at that deer. Look at the design. It is amazed at everything in life. And you actually see when really self realized people, they are amazed with everything. They stay in a state of joy. They do not judge it because their mind did not label anything with how the outcome should be. And because their mind did not label how the outcome should be, they're always in explorative state of consciousness. But we grow up and we say, this should be this way. My fork should be to the right. If it's not there, that's not the right way. I have to eat a certain way. Well, maybe you want to eat with your fingers. It's still okay. And what do? We tell our children, no, no, this is not correct. So from that, we start to create limitations because the emotional state is the feminine state. She's without a container, she's without a box. She floats, she dances, she moves, she's transparent, she adjusts, she adapts, she accepts, she loves, she nurtures. No one should be able to deviate your emotional state. Not your family members, not your friends, not your work. That is your field, that is your choice. So if you feel upset or sad or angry, frustrated, whatever those negative emotions are, that's a choice. That means somebody has power over you. A situation or circumstance is controlling you that you are trapping yourself in its own belief system. No one should be able to uh, deviate the way you feel, no matter what's taking place in the world, outer world. So when you feel sad or upset, stop yourself. Don't continue going in that little rattle of saying, but this happened to me. It has to be this way. Stop yourself instantly. Do not allow that energy to take over and drain the rest of your energy field. So you stop yourself right away. You go into the field. I choose to be happy. If I choose to be in my heart, I choose to be in the state of joy and bring that state to your present moment. Because the present moment does not know the past or the future. It doesn't exist. It's only a memory. So the emotional state, there was a lot of energy coming through for the past few months, especially designed towards that. Depends which state of consciousness you're in. Um, you will be experiencing different things based on the cosmic movement that takes place in the solar system. So majority, well, everybody here is going through a similar space because we all resonate to that Elohimic higher consciousness. And because we all kind of resonate to the same Elohimic kind of higher consciousness, it is the emotional and the mental state that is being purified. As these states take place, the astral body, we're purifying our astral body in this moment. And the astral body is where we are headed to operate in this reality, because we are becoming multidimensional. And that multidimensionalism is also bringing in many different lifetimes, different experiences where you did not complete something, where you left something maybe for another lifetime. And you said, okay, I'll take care of it in a different dimension, you know? So we're having the power and the gift of that blessing to do this work here, as well as affect ourselves all the way to our Christed oversoul. And at the same time, we're also giving birth to our new Christed inner child, the emotional state without always wanting or needing, but the emotional state that is acceptive of every single circumstance, which is the gross body, right? The astral body. It is, as long as the astral body is existing, we're constantly always in desire of something: money, work, relationships, family, friends, material stuff, whatever it may be. But when we step into a higher state of the astral body and merge with our causal state, we are in acceptance state of what it is. Coming into that state is very important to quickly find a nullification point, quickly come back into the state of the mind where it is at peace. So the problem is not with your emotional state. The problem is with the belief system that the emotional state follows. Because we can do a lot of healing to the emotional body. But if the mind continues to reinforce the same beliefs, the emotional state constantly comes back. So we have to clear the emotional state, then go into the mental body, identify the belief system, transmute the belief system, and the emotional state will not repeat these patterns. Otherwise, you're stuck in a loop, constantly healing your emotional state. But this is intuitive work. You have to know when to come through the mental body, to the emotional state, astral body, causal body, or soul level, where it's all coming from. Maybe multidimensional self. And having awareness is the key. There is no logic. Your logical mind does not work in the higher realms. It will fail you.